Hi, I'm Jason Bell, and although I've been the coordinator of Project Rebound at San Francisco State for 10 years, long before that, I was a Rebound student, and I have not forgotten what that experience was like. Working with men and women in a college setting is a unique and specialized kind of profession. It's important that you know in doing so that there is no one cookie cutter way of doing it, but there's key components that must be in place if you're going to do it correctly. Hopefully through this training video, you will get a grip and a grasp of what that experience is like. In running a program that involves working with people or a population, it's important to ask yourself, how do those people get in contact with you? There's three main ways that this happens with Project Rebound. One is through mail. The second is through phone calls. The third is straight walk-ins, face-to-face interactions. The significance of mail. That, for people that are incarcerated or locked away from what we call free society, that becomes their only outlet and form of information. It's extremely important. It's not only important for us to connect with them, but it's important for them to get the information needed in a place where they think that they're completely outcast and locked away from everything that's important.
Good morning, good afternoon. I'm Joseph Miles. I'm the office coordinator here with Project Rebound at San Francisco State University. I'm here to instruct you today as to what it is that I do. My main priority here on a daily basis is taking care of correspondence, both incoming and outgoing. What that is construed of is basically we receive a batch of mail on a daily basis, comes in. We have a method of recording the mail, which is using a stamp that lets you know the date that we actually receive it here in the office. At which point that mail is answered and the information that is sent out to the inmates in regards to questions and things of that nature are placed on the back of here of the letters as such. And this is basically the way that I correspond to those individuals, the things that I put there, notes of that nature. That information is later entered here into the computer on the screen, a spreadsheet that I designed that helps us keep track of the incoming information as well as the outgoing information. Probably the most important aspect of this and the one that my boss rails on me the most about is keeping track of transcripts that come in. So make sure that you are on top of that in the dates that they come in and make sure they get them ASAP. In addition to all else, we have here a spreadsheet that I set up, and it's got certain fields for information to be entered in, particularly last name, first name of the individual, transcript, whether or not it's a questionnaire and inquiry that they're writing about, the date that the correspondence is received, and again, we mark that with the incoming date stamp, the nature of the inquiry, what it is that they're asking about, whether a person is in or out of custody, which is also important, release date if they're in custody, and the date that I respond to their correspondence, as well as the nature of the reply, which is any follow-up information or notes that I need to put in there. And more importantly is the state, whether or not they're writing from California or any other prison. In addition to this, I also have a supplemental screen, which we use in order to keep track of the monthly information. And this is, again, recorded by state, county, whether or not it's a state prison or a federal prison, in addition to county jails and things of that nature. And we have makeshift day of the month calendar at the bottom, at which point I enter how many pieces of mail are received on certain days of the month, corresponding to the date that it's received. Outside of that, my other bit of correspondence comes through email. Respond to those on a daily basis as well. That pretty much covers what I do.
The phone call. Phone calls come in the form of mainly family members, loved ones, sometimes parents, sometimes spouses, or even the kids or offspring of people that are incarcerated. It's important for them to be that medium to get the information needed to the people that are seeking it. And then the face-to-face, that's important because that's their first interaction with the university setting many times. Some people have never been here. It's that place in the clouds that many people fear. Ironically, even after walking in some of the toughest places that the U.S. has to offer, they're afraid of being here and dealing with the bureaucracy of an institution. So we have to ease that fear and build the rapport with the person face to face. Programmatically, it's always important to find out certain things when dealing with the population and helping them and assisting them in getting them into school. First of all, building rapport is extremely important, and understanding that the staff at Project Rebound is also formerly incarcerated and has gone through the transition that they are going through currently. It's important, it works, and it helps people see themselves in a different light. Secondly, college assessment. Finding out where a person left off with their education is always key. But there's stages of that as well, because people self-report certain things that sometimes are not always factual. So we have an assessment tool to do just that. It's important to explain why transcripts are needed, as they will determine which course of entry to the university will be most appropriate. Educational history. It's extremely important to find out where a person left off with their education, because there are basically two ways to come into a 4-year learning institution. The first one is as a freshman. In order to prove that a person completed the requirements that are needed as a freshman, we need to see proof of those high school transcripts or GED, sometimes a combination of the two. The second way to enter a 4-year university is as a transfer student. As a transfer student, it's key to finding out where a person left off with their college units from other learning institutions, usually community colleges, sometimes other 4-year universities. But it's important to find out if that college that they attended was WASC accredited. First core requirement is oral communications. Second, written communications, basically a college level English class. Third is critical thinking, which can vary between philosophy or sometimes math courses, depending on the institution. The fourth being quantitative reasoning, which is for some people can be pretty difficult. It's the math requirement. But those are the most important core requirements that we are definitely looking for with transcripts. Now, just because one or two of the core requirements are not met, that doesn't mean it's the end of the world. We strategize around that. And with our relationships with admissions, we set up strategy to fill in the blanks. In an unfortunate situation where some transfer students find themselves in a default loan situation, it's not the end of the world. Students have gone through that before, and there are ways to get around it. Once evaluations are done and academic strategies are set, it's up to us to help the individual student get to that academic place they want to be in the most efficient manner possible. One of the most important things to do in that respect is figuring out what they want to major in. And many times you'll find that students don't know the limitless options they have. In the 50 years of Rebound's existence, we've had students major in everything from theater to nursing to philosophy. Many times an individual may not know exactly what they want to major in, and that's perfectly fine. We at Project Rebound, we want the student to find out what program is right for them. After all, education is a lifelong journey.